But ladies and gentlemen, for our final speaker in this particular session, we have somebody who is really very, very significant in Sri Lanka, and certainly someone who is helping to drive the very fundamentals and the very infrastructure of how everything in terms of mobile delivery, mobile infrastructure works. Sanjaya Karunasena is the Chief Technology Officer with nearly 15 years of industry experience. He has significant architecture and development experience in product development, enterprise software development, including experience in retail, telecommunication, and e-government domains. His experience in leading a 300-plus people engineering team, developing many enterprise solutions, and providing strategic direction to improve software engineering productivity and software quality here in Sri Lanka. He's currently the head of technology and the chief software architect at the ICTA, and in this role, while contributing to the design and the implementation of the nationwide SOA-based ICT infrastructure, he's providing very, very critical technical guidance to a variety of initiatives. He previously worked as the Director of Services in a leading SOA company, responsible for all client services and infrastructure services, and he's going to speak to us in this final segment before we have our Q&A and lunch about inclusive e-service and m-service delivery in the current context. Please give a very warm Colombo welcome to Mr. Sanjaya Karunasena. Welcome. All yours.
Thanks, Ralph, for that very nice introduction. Now, of course, you must be wondering, me, working mostly with government-related, service delivery. Going to talk about, in a track where we mostly discuss about mobile music. Perhaps, some relationship you can build. Maybe, we would like receiving a government service be as enjoyable as listening to music. Okay, so let's see. There we go. I have my presentation. So, yeah, so I'm going to talk about inclusive service delivery in the current context with all emerging, exciting mobile technologies. So let me quickly give you a perspective of efficient and effective service delivery as far as government is concerned. Of course, this may be even true for any other sector as well. Some certain key fundamentals we need to look at. Now, of course, this is what we are envisioning. You may have seen this, me portraying elsewhere, but this is a key vision, something we envision for the future, where we would like to take the government service delivery in Sri Lanka. So we want it to be really personalized, seamless, everywhere, anytime available, and especially take out the bureaucracy aspect of it, which people complain a lot, and make it more transparent. So what are the key requirements for us to really get there? Firstly, we need to understand the stakeholders, especially if you are dealing with government service delivery. That's fundamental. And then the required information need to be available in IT systems. So if you have walked into a government organization, you may have seen piles of documents with information in papers. You can't deliver electronic services, so that has to get into information system. And then government should be able to should have the ability to electronically exchange information. And then when it comes to government service delivery, there are a lot of legal and regulatory aspect comes in. So those things need to be looked at. And then, of course, very importantly, these services should be available online so that you can access them if you want these things to be available anywhere, anytime. And making them available online alone is not good enough. People should be able to access or receive these services. They should have the capability to receive, so let me say accessibility for that. Or in other words, easily reachable services for citizens. So, quickly looking at what we have done so far and where things are right now, we have built a very impressive infrastructure. We have invested a lot of our time and money to create a whole enabling infrastructure. We have connected government organizations into a government wide area network. We call it LGN, and we have put in infrastructure which enables government organizations to electronically communicate without having to send papers here and there. We have worked on required regulatory and policy level aspects, enabling them to legally perform those things. And there are various things we have done. And you may know the regulation recently went out in relevance to electronically receiving payments in the government, which in turn enables the central bank to go out and put out mobile money related guidelines. And then we have built an infrastructure for the government to use using state-of-the-art technology to enable them to ensure they can really host online services which are available throughout the day. Because if you make a service available online and set expectations with people, it's no longer 8 to 5 work. In some cases, it's less than 8 to 5, for some people here would say. But when something is online, you can't say we are only working 8 to 5. This website is only up for 8 to 5. That won't work. It should be available throughout the day. So how do you make that happen is important, and we have built the infrastructure to do that too. Okay. And then we haven't stopped there. We have worked on many services. And these services, some of them are already out there, and some of them going to come out in next month and month after, and so on. So I'm not going to just go over these things. I'm just show you what's going to come out to you and what will be available for you online. So the list goes on. We have a whole heap of services we have worked on and enabled them electronically. So let us revisit the key requirements again. Now that we have done all this, we have all these fantastic services available, useful services available for people. Let us look at the key requirements in completing this entire cycle. So we have a good understanding about the stakeholders, and that's why we managed to enable these services. And obviously, informations are now on IT system reasonably. And we have worked out the entire strategy and the required technicalities to connect the various government organizations and get them to exchange information electronically. We have worked on the required legal policy and other matters. And these services, some of them are already online, and most of it will become online very soon. But of course, there's a question about, are we reaching the people? Okay, so let me give you a perspective with the current context and capabilities available out there to reach people. This is from Sri Lanka, Telecommunication Regulatory Commission data. So the fixed line versus mobile, you can see mobile looks very impressive. A country with 21 million people population, this is where the mobile at least registrations, right? So this looks very impressive. And then when we look at internet penetration, now of course there will be a question about have we considered broadband penetration? But I won't expect that to make a major change here. And this is what it is. So if we make something available on the web, this is how it's going to reach to people. And then I looked at another research work to get a sense of key features available in mobile phones used by bottom of the pyramid. So I don't know whether these are like smart phones or feature phones or whatnot. Important thing is what features available on those things. So The basic features, yeah, those things are obviously there. But when it goes to more high-end features, we can see it's very minimal. And what do they do right now? Mostly making calls. And then, yeah, some of them sending SMSs. Now, of course, there are two sides to it. One could be that's the feature available in the device. But on the other hand, maybe even if they can afford to go for a different device, they didn't bother to purchase that device because there's no real use for them. Unless they have an useful application, they will not really think about acquiring a device which has all these features. People are usually driven by their needs. Interestingly, I noticed in some of the literature that certain people has replaced the torch and the radio with the phone, because there are these phones which comes with a small torch and it has a radio. So farmers in the night, when they have to look after their paddy, they use the mobile phone to listen to radio. So that's how people pick what device to go based on the usefulness of it. So perhaps if we had more useful applications, maybe we would see a slightly different picture here. So however, as far as we are concerned, our challenge is concerned, we have developed all these services, and we would like these things now to be effectively delivered to people as soon as possible, because these services are ready. And we have a larger population who can consume all this. So our immediate strategy, of course, would be to focus on voice and SMS. Of course, we're gonna make these services available selectively to everyone else as well who would like to develop applications, mobile applications around this. So that will perhaps create more demand. But where we would like to invest, we will focus on these channels because we have already invested into this. We are already delivering some SMS services. All the operators are connected to our infrastructure, so we can just capitalize on what we have already invested. And all the Sri Lankans here, I assume, know about 1919, the government information center. We can reuse the same facility to now deliver a transactional service, not just information, because these services are implemented and available on an internet-based application. So we can train the officers to be the proxy for these applications if someone calls in to get a service, and we can model the business process in such a way. So that will be our immediate focus. So with that, I will conclude my presentation, and I'll be happy to take questions.
So, Joy, why don't